Kia ora and welcome back to the HRPI. I'm Marie Tovio, Employment Relations Consultant and Registered Investigator. In today's episode, we're investigating how to support an employee who has had leave due to illness or injury and how to balance empathy with safety and legal compliance. Absence for health, injury or another medical reason can be a difficult topic to navigate. On one hand, you of course want to support your employees' well-being. On the other hand, you need to ensure they're fit to return and won't be at risk, especially in safety-sensitive roles. You also need to ensure that you have sufficient resourcing in your business, and when an employee needs a lot of unplanned absence for health reasons, it can really start to impact your operation and other team members. So, what legislation is relevant to this matter here in New Zealand? The Health and Safety at Work Act 2015 requires employers to ensure the safety of their workers so far as reasonably practicable. That includes ensuring someone returning from illness or injury can safely perform their duties. The Employment Relations Act also places an obligation on employers and employees to deal with each other in good faith. So if an employee has been off work due to illness or injury, whether physical or due to mental health, it's entirely appropriate to ask for medical clearance or request further information about their fitness to return. This could include requesting consent from your employee to gather relevant medical information or to arrange for them to see an occupational physician for a fitness for work assessment at the organisation's cost, so you can get relevant and detailed information from an appropriately qualified medical professional. This can include what support or adjustments at work could allow the employee to return safely. If your employee has been off work and is covered by ACC during that period, a return to work plan might suggest reduced hours or light duties. It's important you are involved in the planning for the employee's return because the plan needs to include actions that can be accommodated in the workplace. Ensure you comply with the Privacy Act obligations when requesting, using, storing and destroying any personal information. Your request to the employee should outline what information you need, why and how it will be used. If you do arrange a fitness for work assessment or where you want information from the employee's medical record, you'll need to provide the doctor with a clear brief, including the employee's role, description, duties, and any concerns you've observed, as well as a copy of the written consent your employee has provided for you to obtain the information. Once you receive the report, you should consult with the employee about the findings before making any decisions. Sometimes a phased return to work, modified duties, or adjusted hours can help an employee ease back into their role. But if the report suggests they're permanently unable to perform their duties, or it's unlikely they'll be able to return in a reasonable timeframe, or maybe there's no guarantee of a return at all, then you may need to begin a process to consider whether medical incapacity might exist. This must be handled carefully, fairly, and ideally with expert guidance. Employers are not required to hold an employee's role open indefinitely, although case law suggests that in many cases, employers are expected to be able to hold an employee's job open for about 3 months. You will need to take into account relevant information to determine a fair process and timeframe. For example, how crucial is the role to the organisation's operation? What is the relevant medical information? How long has the employee been off work or on reduced duties and/or hours? Can you cover the employee's work when needed and accommodate any restrictions? What are the rehabilitation options? What's the employee's ability to return to their role? And do you have other opportunities that could accommodate any restrictions your employee might have? I worked with an employer recently where a long-serving employee returned from extended leave following back surgery. The employer engaged an occupational physician who recommended a phased return over 6 weeks with some restrictions, such as no lifting, and they had regular physio. Because the employer and employee followed the right process and advice, the parties had open communication, Duties and work hours could be adapted, and they checked in regularly. The return was successful and was well received. So, what should you take away from this episode? 1. Always consult in good faith and be proactive about understanding fitness for work. Don't wait until the last day of a medical certificate to initiate discussion. 2. Seek written consent before requesting medical information. 3. Engage appropriate medical professionals where needed and follow their guidance carefully. 4. Consider how you could accommodate the employee before jumping to incapacity, and always follow a fair process. The information in this podcast is provided as a general overview of key employment topics and does not replace tailored advice. Every situation is different, and the appropriate steps can vary depending on the specific circumstances. If you're unsure about how to proceed in your workplace, I encourage you to seek advice and support. Feel free to get in touch with me directly. That's it for this case. If you're managing a complex return to work situation and need support, get in touch. I'm Marie Tovio, and you've been listening to the HRPI. Mā te wā.